What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Good to be here. Good to see you. How's that? Is that better? Is that better? What's going on, everybody? Good to be here. Good to see you. It is Wednesday, October 5th, 9:20 here on the West Coast. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, simulcast on Twitch as well as YouTube. Thank you for making us here at the lab part of your day. Somebody says Josh is still on Turtle Island. Great. Thanks. Happy to be there, I guess. I'm not gonna go into the whole thing because I don't know all the details, but I do know I just read that the family of four that was kidnapped was found deceased, and it's a terrible way to start the show. And I agree with that. So I just, prayers for them. Muscles in mascara. Go Braves. I'm a Braves fan tonight or for the rest of this season. But yes, the family of four that was kidnapped, they were found dead. And it was a case that I was somewhat following. I just, after a couple of days, you don't hear anything, and it's really, it's like you almost don't want to pay attention because you know what's gonna happen. You know what's coming, and it's just it's tragic. The price of life seems rather cheap for some people. No respect for lives, and it's a very tough thing to deal with. It almost reminds, so, it reminds me again, since this is so topical and a new generation has been exposed to the serial killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, not just the serial killer, the cannibal, the, deranged mind that he is. We all sometimes forget that it's just not about Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, there's 17 people. That's 17 individual stories that we know of that he admitted to. And I don't think that there's any reason for him. Well, at that point is, I think, I think he was telling the truth, but who knows? Who actually knows? Well, there's 17 stories that really get forgotten. That is kind of normal. But it's unfortunate. And think about not only 17 families, but then you think 17 families and friends and relatives. It's just, and now four people, for whatever reason, probably monetary, are now deceased in a quadruple murder. You don't hear about that a lot. I don't know if that is considered mass murder. It is to me. I mean, mass murder to me is two. But this family of four, it's so, yeah. Here, okay, I guess we can, let me bring it up here and a terrible thing. Great. Ads. Window Chrome tab. Share. All right. Let's take a look here. Okay, I don't want to watch the commercial. So it says a kidnapped family of four has been found dead in California, authorities say. Breaking news, 11:37 p.m. Eastern. The kidnapped family of four, including an 8-month-old child, was found dead Wednesday in California, authorities said. It's horribly senseless, Merced County Sheriff Vern Warnke? I don't know. The bodies of the victims were found in the same area, he said. The search for the family of four kidnapped in California continues Wednesday. Well, this is the original story. So the search for the family of four kidnapped in California continues Wednesday as relatives appealed for the public's help. Authorities said that they have a person of interest in custody. So I think we knew that. The kidnapping of 8-month-old Ruhi Dirhi, parents of Jasleen Kaur and Jasdeep Singh, and the child's uncle Amandeep Singh. I know a guy named Amandeep. That's weird. The kidnapped family of four found. Yeah, it's just, what the hell? What the hell, man? Weird. We're devastated. We're shocked. We're dying every moment, not finding any clues. That was the thing too. And, you know, usually I try to keep track of those stories, and I heard it and they knew that it was a kidnapping. So within the first few minutes, you're going, you know, this isn't going to be good. And they have a man in custody, but they don't have the body. It was kind of like Eliza Fletcher situation. And yes, the man is in custody. You know, Melissa, I don't know the motive. The motive seems to be robbery, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't want to go too far and speculate too much. But you know, it's just, I mean, quadruple homicide, a whole family is just nuts. I mean, what kind of a sicko does that to not only a family, but an 8-month-old baby? It's really sick. And I believe, see, that's the thing. California doesn't even have, I mean, they have the death penalty, but they don't use the death penalty. But like this is what the death penalty is for. Cases just like this. Like, does this guy deserve any mercy at all? No. Hi, Eve. How are you doing tonight? It is good to see you. Random act. You know what? It's hard for me to speculate because I don't know. I don't think so. And Nerdy Girl T420, good to see you. This is truly heartbreaking and so tragic. Yes, it is. It's a terrible. I really wasn't going to start the show this way. I was actually going to try to have a little bit of fun. But yeah, as Cisco says, and now a serial killer in Stockton and Bay Area. I know. I heard about that one too. Just just in time for Halloween, man. It's ridiculous. A serial killer. Have they really confirmed that it was a serial killer? I mean, are they all? Are they? How is that? I mean, are they just speculating that it's a serial killer? Let me see here. Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe there is a serial killer on the loose. Good God. Okay, well. Chrome tab. Okay, might as well. You start off terrible and let's just continue my God. Police have linked several shootings to a possible serial killer in Stockton, California. Stockton is a crap hole. It's an absolute crap hole. A little bit. How are you? Good to see you. You're late, but you're just a little late. How far is that from you, Josh? Not far enough, but it's a few. It's like, I don't know, 4 hours, 3 hours, but not far enough. That's for sure. Yeah. Get rid of the holiday. I agree. Yeah. It's not, I mean, I wouldn't say it's close, but it's not that far. I'm really doing my best to not go. I mean, it's just, holy my God, Don't walk at night in secluded areas are being recommended in Stockton. I think that's recommended in Stockton year round, but it's better advice now than it ever has been. I'm telling you, that area is there are certain parts of Stockton, like everywhere else, that are okay, but I mean, Stockton, it's not the serial killer thing. It's the gangs. And that's the scary part. But now you're worrying about this. I mean, see, serial killers, that was the thing, is that they operated so much more, they were so much more brazen before, like DNA and stuff like that. Now, I think they say that there's anywhere from 50 to 100 serial killers operating in the United States at any given time. I mean, that seems like an awful lot. And so I don't know. I don't know the exact stats. Lex, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Dogs with jobs. Hello, the lab, Josh, Otis, mods, and chat. Greetings from Southern California. Greetings. How are you? Good to see you. All right, so let's see what they got to say. Stockton police have now linked several shootings, 6 fatal, to a possible serial killer who remains at large. So we're talking like Zodiac type stuff, just absolutely insane stuff. Stockton police have now linked several 6 to a possible serial killer. Officials confirmed that the string of seemingly random homicides began in April of last year, more than a year earlier than previously believed. Oh my God. Good Lord. Police have drawn connections to all 7 shootings by using ballistics evidence, and checking that against a statewide database, as well as surveillance video footage from some of the crime scenes. Quote, so as the investigation continues, there's definitely a possibility that there could be more. I would bet that. Stockton Police Public Information Officer Joe Silva told NPR. A team of detectives is scouring older shooting homicides for potential links. I lost my spot. To the recent spate of violence, according to Silva. The department has also called on other local precincts to pursue their own cases for a match. A survivor offers few details about the shooter, and police have few tangible leads. So that's not good news. Last week, authorities stated that a serial killer may be responsible for recent shooting deaths that have shaken residents of Stockton, which occurred between July 8th through September 27th. They also said that the victims had all been men within the city limits. But now new information indicates that a 40-year-old Hispanic man who was fatally shot on April 10th, 2021 in Oakland is linked to the more recent shootings. It would be the first of the serial killings outside of Stockton. Additionally, police have connected the April 16th, 2021 shooting of a 46-year-old black woman in Stockton to the suspect. Unlike other victims, she is the only person to have survived her injuries and the only woman who appears to have been targeted. Our detectives have been working with her to find as much as we can, Silva said, noting that it is possible that there are more than one shooter involved in the string of homicides. She described her shooter as an unknown race male, 5'10" to 6 feet tall with a slim build. That narrows it down. Oh, I mean, that's really crazy to even survive something like that. Silva said on the day of the attack, he was wearing a dark colored sweatshirt with a hood pulled over his head, dark pants, and a black face mask. What's weird is that even though we're working around the clock, we're still getting a lot of calls and tips. Right now, we don't have any workable leads. Once again, not great. Not a great thing. The 5 victims were slain in recent months, have been identified by the San Joaquin County's Office of the Medical Examiner, Paul Yaw, 35, who was killed on July 8th. Salvador D. Budley Jr., 43, who died on August 11th. Jonathan Hernandez Rodriguez, 21, who was fatally shot on August 30th. Juan Cruz, 52, the September 21st victim. And Lawrence Lopez Sr., 54, who was killed on September 27th. Homicide series update today. Chief McFadden released a video of the person of interest in regards to this series. If you have any information, please call 209-937-8167. There is a $125,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. And there you go. You can see him just cruising along. That's the suspect, person of interest right there. Look at him. This guy sucks. It looks like he's been riding a horse all day. Look at him. Look at him. I don't know, man. Stockton, be careful. There was a dog, looked like a black German Shepherd, but he was tied up barking. Yeah. Yeah, it was a slight limp. Yeah, somebody probably beat the hell out of him. And I mean, it doesn't sound like he gets along with people very well. I am curious, though, to see. I think Let me switch here. Let me switch it up. No, I mean, Mississippi Girl, you're right. It's like it's insane. All right. Cotton Farmer says, I'm not putting any money on LE taking this case seriously until I see some sort of actual police work being done over the last several months. I've learned that you cannot count on LE. Cotton Farmer, very entitled to your opinion, and I respect it 100%. I'm not going to lump in all law enforcement. Now, I know that there are some, especially with that, I can't remember his name, Christian Glass or whatever it was, one of the most insane things that I've seen. And that kind of, but that's an isolated incident, and there are isolated pockets of cops that aren't doing the right thing. There's no question about it. I really like, it said skip the ad. I clicked on it and then it just keeps going and going and going and going. Nah, look, like I said, you're extremely welcome to your opinion. How many ads are there? Like, all right, how many serial killers are on the loose? Let's take a look here. The Denver prostitute killer. So the FBI estimates that there are between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time. I mean, that's quite a discrepancy. Is it 25 or is it 50? Either way, it's a lot. And many of them have never been caught. Here are just a few more notorious serial killer cases in the United States. The Denver prostitute killer, that's a tale as old as time, unfortunately. Denver prostitute killer is the name given to an unknown serial killer liable for the killing of at least 17 women. Oh, God. West Mesa bone collector. I mean, these names are just terrifying. The Zodiac killer. Yeah. Yeah. Heidi. That's a great point. Golden State Killer was from the Bay Area. Yeah, that's true. You're right about that. So who else you got here? Long Island serial killer. So these are people that have never been caught. Are there serial killers at large in your hometown? First and foremost, it's important to be aware of your surroundings, trust your instincts. Awesome advice. Just awesome advice. I'm being sarcastic, but I mean, it kind of is. You don't want to go down the back road of a known crack alley or whatever. You just don't want to do that. Ava says, hey, did somebody gift me a membership? I planned on joining, but I don't remember doing so. Ava, it's magic. Lockdown with April C. Yes, such disregard for human life. I believe, I can't remember. It was Love Pink yesterday, and Melissa, I believe, were gifting the memberships last night. I think that's what was going on. Oh, sorry. Golden State, I was relieved when they got him, even though 4 decades passed, he was in our area too. I know. I was really close to him as well. God, the Bay Area just does something to people, man. That's the Zodiac too. The Zodiac too. And I think it was Arthur Lee Allen who's the Zodiac, but people dispute that. So I don't know who the Zodiac was, but I was into that case for a while too, until you find out that it's nothing more than a bunch of dead ends with no actual proof. I mean, they will never, ever find out who the Zodiac was. There's just, I just don't. How? I mean, is there anybody that thinks that they're really going to find out who the Zodiac was? No, I don't. I just don't see it happening. I wish that would be amazing, but I don't see it happening. I sure don't. Let me see. Golden State Killer in Sacta. His first murder was in Exeter, California. I grew up in that area too. I love how I know. Like I've tried to skip them so many times, and they won't let me. For some reason, they're just like, I'm gonna try and I skipped another ad. Look at this. You can skip ads forever. Skip ad. Okay. New ad. Here we go again, folks. Here we go. Skip ad. Up. Got another one. This is like a slot machine. Oh my God. We got it. How long until they show back? Oh no. Son of a. I'm going to skip it. Oh, skip the ad. I've never seen one skip the ad. This is, I want to cruise. Skip the ad. Oh, got them. They're gone. They're gone. Otis. Hey, son of a gun. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Where's Otis at? Yeah, Otis should be in commercials. Otis should be in commercials. It is like whack-a-mole. Let's give it one more go. This website sucks. Worldatlas.com. Like, I get it. You need ads, but this is a little much, folks. Look at this. What is it? 3 in a row? Boom. Boom. Yeah. Okay. I'm done with that website. It's terrible. Hello. Uprising. Single mom of 4. How are you tonight? Katie too. Hey everyone. Screenshot my help. I'm off of it. All right, Eve. Yes. You can see that I am on StreamYard and that my cool little setup with Streamlabs has given me irritation that only rivals the gout. I don't know. I've never had gout. I'm just saying. You told me, Eve. Matter of fact, Eve, I kind of want you to will you grab a link? Because I want to talk to you about this. If you're busy, I understand. You don't have to turn your camera on, but I want to talk to you about this. Because I've lost it. I spent way too much time dealing with Streamlabs. A little bit says you never know about who could be a serial killer, someone you least expect for sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's like somebody right next to you. Yeah, Eve. I got a bone to pick with you. I got a major bone to pick with you. Oh, I'm sure you do. They're fascinating. They'll entertain you for the next 10 years. All right. Yeah, you want to have a stern word? All right. We're going to let me see here. All right. All right, Eve. Let me. Eve, do you have a public email or anything that you don't mind giving out? Or, no, probably not. No. Nope. Oh, what was that, Linda? You didn't have to do that, Linda. That's so nice of you. Um, what are you scared of? That's true. That's really all I do. I'm a talker. Let's see. Yeah, you got a gift. Where are you at, Linda? Or not Linda, I'm sorry. Where are you at, Eve? Linda, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. You guys, that's very sweet. Congratulations to all the new members. All right, we're here. Just where you at? You take the link. I don't even care. Yes, it was very it was terrible. The link is for Eve. True Crime with Eve. Streamlabs. They're like, "Oh, Josh, you should move over to this system. It's so easy." And I'm not like necessarily technically stupid. I mean, I'm stupid. Like, I'm not. I thought I was a lot smarter with things like OBS than I actually was. All right, Eve, I'm telling you. There you okay. Well, hello, Eve. How are you?
Hello, Josh.
So I first of all, I want to say I appreciate you helping me try to figure out Streamlabs OBS. Now, do you use OBS or do you use Streamlabs OBS? Because there's a difference, right?
So I use Streamlab Desktop. There's an OBS camera that you could like add to it, but yeah, I use Streamlabs OBS camera or desktop,
Okay.
excuse me.
Okay. Um, and so look, do you let me just ask you this. Do you think it should be that hard to highlight a comment?
No, but you have to be smarter than what you're using, Josh.
Yeah, but OBS is not is okay. I want to say this. OBS is not exactly um, an easy, simple system, right? I mean, can we agree on that?
Yeah, yeah, but for the low price of, let's just say, $1,000, I could teach you everything. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
okay. Well, yeah, let's get right on that.
No, it did take me a long time to actually get used to it, but once you get it down, it's way better than StreamYard.
Yeah, so there's a few things about StreamYard that I hate. One is the echo, obviously the echo. And then second of all is kind of just it's for the price, it's not very it's really simple. You don't get a lot of features with it, right? Do you use StreamYard?
Sorry, there's a delay. I used to, but the reverb, like no matter what you do, you're gonna have feedback, even if you do things on StreamYard. So there's a glitch there.
Oh,
That's why that's why I use Streamlabs.
So that's why you left. That was the official reason that you left.
Cannot I cannot stand echo. Um, First of all, I don't like hearing my voice come back at me, so that's just one of my things. But StreamYard, like no matter what you do, there's always going to be an issue. That's why I switched over.
Right. Well, that's why I wanted to switch over too. And I had been and I for the most part I've got it figured out. But but I can't get the friggin' I went step by step on what you told me to do with the Chrome extension. It just was like it wasn't happening. I couldn't put a filter on it. I couldn't do anything. The options just weren't there. And the chat highlight widget that you told me about only seems to
Mm-hmm.
work for Twitch.
Oh, I forget that you stream on multiple platforms. So there's going to be different settings for each one. Ooh, I see what you're saying.
Dang. It's just
That's where
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'm telling you, I tried. That's why you see me back on here playing Jane. That's who I am.
all right. Well, the offer still stands.
Yeah, $1,000 and you could show me everything. I really quick before I don't know if you're in a rush or whatever, but I do want to ask you this. You and I were talking about the Summer Wells case last night,
Mm-hmm.
and you've shared your theory publicly before, correct?
I have, yes.
Can you share that again, because it was an option that I never really thought about much. A little bit I did think about it, but I kind of dismissed it. And the more that I thought about it, the more that it seemed to make sense. I struggle with the premeditation part, but can you share that again?
Sure. So, for the longest time, like the wildest conspiracy theories were out there. And I always go back to the basics of like how do they live their lifestyle? What issues would arise from that lifestyle? And what I went back to was, there was a lot of talk about CPS being involved. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly what that all entails, but I have a feeling that when Summer went to go get her shots and her mandatory physical for enrollment in pre-K or kindergarten, I feel like they may have seen some signs of neglect and abuse, and that triggered potentially another case, a CPS case or an investigation. And maybe at that point, um, Summer was, too much of a liability at that point where those parents would go down for a very long time. So maybe she had to go away, however she went away, so that they could at least try to keep the boys and then maybe either bring her back or whatever the case may be. But I just feel like her being enrolled in kindergarten and maybe a CPS case being triggered might have started the entire reason for her disappearance.
And so you think that, and obviously there is, this is we're speculating, but so you believe that this was premeditated, that they, for lack of a better term, got rid or hid Summer's body.
I do. The way that Candace is so well, both of the parents are just so numb when they talk about her being in a dungeon, for instance, or whoever has her. They're just so nonchalant that it makes
Right.
me feel like they know it. First of all, they know exactly where she is. And
I
second
agree.
of all, there's a big reason why. And when the boys are brought up, they get really defensive, more so than what you would think they would do for Summer.
Mhm.
So there must be a connection there in my mind, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing about the boys is that they were. taken care of more because they were in school. So, they were getting more nutritional food or more nutritious food than probably Summer was. I hear them talking about how there were just like cases of Mountain Dew, and that Summer's favorite drink was Mountain Dew, which is not uncommon for the backwoods of Tennessee. It's a cheap energy drink. And I do believe that she was malnourished. I do believe that she was neglected. I do believe that she was and always had been and still to this day is an afterthought. I think all those things. And I shared with you, and I still, even though your theory does make sense, I still think that they left her in a hot car. And that her and whoever she was palling around with, H specifically, but and I don't know if what kind of relationship they had. It seemed inappropriate at best. And so I think you're right in the sense that she was neglected and all those things, but I do believe that she was left in a hot car. Um,
Well, I mean,
and
but they could easily call 911 and say, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know she was in there." They could have made way better excuses for an accident like that, even if it was neglectful,
mhm.
than, you know, what my theory is. So I just feel like it would be way less of a sentence, if you will, or um, punishment to just call 911 if they
Yeah, but
saw
I
her.
don't think they do that. I think
Yeah.
the only time that they call 911 is when Don's being crazy and throwing things around and shooting his black powdered pistol and flare, and beating the crap out of Jose or whatever.
Well, the whole seven alibis thing, it really does stick with me. And the reason why is because who are these seven who is the seven alibis that you have and Candace doesn't? Who are these seven alibis? And it makes
Mhm.
me feel like it's the seven kids that she has lost in total,
Yeah, I've never
right?
thought of that. I never thought of that. People were saying it was Starlink pings, but I don't know if
No,
that's
I
true or
don't think
not.
he's that deep.
What's
um
that?
and I don't think he's that deep in thought to make that connection.
Oh no, he's dumb as spackle for sure.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, he's also just um it's a on the show last night, had you heard that clip before when he says that he was protecting Candace, or that he had protected her?
No, that was the first time that I've heard it, and it doesn't surprise me, but
Right.
really like to know what that was, and it just always brings me back to a crime. Like, why would you protect
Sure.
anybody? Because you got dirty secrets on them that they could go to jail for because these are criminals.
Yeah, and he would always say, um, you know, that Candace was always up to no good. The people that she was hanging out with were no good, so on and so forth. And he's like, I truly believe that whatever happened, I mean, are they that diabolical to plan getting rid of their little daughter? I mean,
I do.
that is a whole nother level of ridiculous, diabolical, sinister behavior, right? That's not accident. Um, look, they're degenerates, but that is so much further than I can fathom, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the case study, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I like preach it on my channel. There's a case study from 2011 that shows what happens when parents falsely report their child missing, but they actually murdered them. And I can send that to you, but I'm telling you, 5 years old is the median age. One of the biggest issues of why is because they were um, in the way of a relationship outside of the marriage, or it was a domestic violence related issue that turned into homicide. And then the third reason is because of potty training issues, which is kind of threw me off for a loop,
Right.
because I don't know that specific, information, but it just kind of makes me wonder. 5 years old, you're going into kindergarten. There's a lot of changes. What is going on? Why are these 5-year-old children going missing right before they start school? Why? Well, the case study says it's because there's a lot of craziness in the home. These children are hyperactive and the parents can't handle it because they're on drugs. It's
Right.
that simple. And
Right.
that kind of falls in line with definitely Don and Candace, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, they're about the worst of the worst when it comes to drugs. There's no question about that.
Well,
They
like they are the worst of the worst. Like if you were to compare any other case, they would be the bare bottom to use because they are the worst,
yeah,
you know. And
right,
a lot of parents maybe aren't that bad on the surface level, but they still do really horrible things, make really bad decisions when they're high on drugs,
right, right.
you know?
Well, I mean, it seems like that, they're always kind of high on drugs. That's kind of what they do, but at the same time, do we really think like, well, at least me, I do struggle making that jump. That doesn't mean anything. That's just my own hang up, like maybe I'm giving them too much credit or whatever. I just think that they're degenerates that don't watch their children, and something happened to Summer that was neglect, and they're like, we're going to go to prison for this. We don't like prison. We like what we're doing. And either way, if we get caught, we go to prison. If we don't, then we stay out.
Right. It's like the risk factor, which is more risky. Um, which one can we get away with more?
Mhm.
Right. Potentially getting rid of Summer where the evidence may lie, which in my opinion, that's neglect and maybe even something more nefarious. Or do we just wing it and see what happens? And I guarantee you, when someone's under the influence of drugs, they're not going to make the best choice. They're going to make the easiest one in their minds at the time. Which one makes more sense? These
Mhm.
are criminals on
Right.
drugs. So that's just how I feel about it. But the going to school part was one of the first things mentioned in the, what was it, first or second interview with Candace and Dawn. It's usually the very first things or the very first interview that tells you everything. And I just feel like it's very important.
The Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was that was who coined that phrase? It was fantastic. Was that True Crime Rocket Science guy? Do
I
you
think
remember
you're right.
him?
Yeah.
He called it the Sermon on the Mount, and I couldn't agree more. It was a holy roller. We're church people, good people, and I don't remember which interview was first. Was it the one where he was in like the road with his son, with his hand around his son? Um,
Yeah, I think that one and I think they were in like an interview room or something. Like they were in a conference room, and then the second one was with WHJL. That was the one that got me.
yeah, right. And that was the first time Candace had ever talked publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that? 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, 2 weeks, right? Because
Weeks,
McDonough
yeah.
showed up a week after that
Right.
and met with them. So for 2 weeks, she makes no public appearances.
Right.
That's odd in itself. If you really thought that your daughter was kidnapped, you'd be all over TV. Um, so who do you think's the master planner here?
Oh, um, Grandis.
Really?
I do. I think that she's a uh, just smart enough to get away with a lot of things for a very long time, and uses other people
Yeah.
to do what she wants. I
Right.
do.
Wow. I
Mhm.
look, it's hard to disagree. I mean, she seems very diabolical to me. And who takes off right after their kid or their daughter's daughter, their granddaughter goes missing?
Right.
They're like, oh well, she had already planned to go visit somebody that was having surgery. It's like, well, yeah, who cares? Like that you would think that a little girl, the little girl at the home, the only little girl there, your granddaughter goes missing, and you take off out of town. That doesn't make any sense to me. Um, I just don't think I just don't think she cares. If that makes any sense, I don't think that she cares.
Right. There's a lot of blankness when anybody from the Herrera family or Bly family speak about the
Yeah.
family. They're blank, but when it comes to talking about themselves, oh, there's lots of emotions there. I just think that this is a generational um just
You,
sociopath.
you
Just a
think
lot.
this case gets solved?
Say that again.
Do you think that this case gets solved?
I do. I do. Yep.
What do you why do you think that? Do you think that it's just because somebody's going to flip?
I think that drug addicts cannot help themselves. They're always looking for the next high, and sometimes that means even risking getting caught. Happens. It happens in history. If you look at certain cases. Um, and I do think that either Don or Candace would slip.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna let's say debut it, but I have some audio of a conversation that Don and I had, and Don explicitly tells me that he has been a narc before, that he's ratted for,
You don't say. Wow.
yeah, for a lesser sentence, and it I don't know, it wasn't like a murder case or anything, but it was something drug related,
Mm-hmm.
and that he cut a deal with the feds. So, I think that if he's not the ringleader, if he somehow has less culpability, that he very very well may, um, at some point, flip if the charges from Utah or any evidence at all show up, in my opinion. Um, but I don't, like I said,
Well,
I just don't know.
Utah uses um, crimes of the nature that we are aware of with Mary
Yeah,
and Jeannie. They do use those crimes for um, deals with other
sure.
crimes.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. And I mean, and hopefully they're gonna, hopefully they've linked up with Hawkins County TBI and say, hey, you know, let's we have enough to charge him. Now if he's if there's not enough evidence, and I think that I mean he said that he did it. Um
Yeah, very blatantly. Yeah.
but I just don't know why they wouldn't take it right away and go, hey, this we got a shot here, and this is our shot. Um Now, are they waiting? Are they going to be waiting outside the Hawkins County Hilton for him? Or is it going to take some more time? I just don't know.
It takes that one piece that slams them with the Summer Wells case where he has no choice. They're wait. You only have one shot at a grand jury indictment, right? So the prosecuting attorney's office is going to know exactly what that piece is. They're not going to tell us, but I think that's what they're waiting on. I do.
Yeah. And I mean, they could very well be waiting for Don to finish his sentence where he is. And that may be the holdup. But I also think that the CPS case and the whole mystery behind the CPS case, because they're minors, so it's not going to be transparent. I think that it's a problem because until that is all sewn up, I don't think that anything happens with this case, because Summer was and is part of that CPS case as well. And so I think that I don't know. I don't know if I'm grasping at straws here or not. I don't know.
I think we all are at the end of the day, because that's all we want is, to get justice for Summer. But we have to ask, like, is it more important to get justice in a sense of having a person put in jail forever versus figuring out what exactly happened so that the public can feel, a little bit safer, or that the community can understand exactly what was going on so that they can prevent these kind of things in the future? Like, where do we draw the line? What matters most? Knowing what happened, or persecuting somebody. Sometimes it doesn't always work out for both of those things to exist.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really, really do hope, but I don't think, say they find Summer and she's deceased and her body's been out in the elements. I just don't even think that they'll know. They wouldn't be able to show or probably prove what happened. It's going to be like the Kaylee Anthony situation. Unless somebody says, hey, Candace did this or Dawn did this, the body's here. I'll testify that it whatever.
And already,
What's that?
who's to say that they haven't already?
Well, I mean, if somebody said that they knew where the body was, I mean, they would have to report that immediately.
Right.
They can't hold that. They can't hold that. I mean, there's an active Amber Alert for the kid, for the young girl. And so, are you familiar with a man on here named Matt Gilbert? Have you seen him? I'm a fan. Okay.
I am too.
I really like Matt. And I asked him for permission the other day to play one of his videos. And if you have to go, that's totally fine. If you want to stay, you're welcome to as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I want to play. This was from about 3 or 4 months back. And first of all, I find the guy completely genuine, and he just seems like a really nice guy.
Problem.
But he's from Hawkins County. And have you heard his little 5-minute video about his talk that he had with a Rogersville cop?
Yes. That was epic.
It is epic, and I wish more people could hear this. So I'm going to play it right now. Good old StreamYard here. All right. So, and his name is, I think the name of his channel is just Matt Gilbert. If somebody can find his link and put it in the chat. This is, let's see here. This is interesting to say the least.
All right, so I just a couple minutes ago was talking to a Rogersville city cop. Boy, was I surprised. We'll start with Dustin the kitten. The 600 SOB that did it is a heavyweight guy, heavy set guy. They got him on video. He had a knife in his hand. I told the cop, I should tell me who he is and walk away. He said, "You're not the only one who feels that way." Because I heard a little kitten, you're a freaking sick, you know what. Then we started talking about the Summer Wells case. And that's the wow. He's one of the original ones that went out searching for 3 days straight, he said. He showed me how he had blisters like that big on his foot. I'm going to say that, and he told me, said straight up, the detectives know more than they're saying.
Agreed.
They also all agree on the same thing. I think I might have been wrong a little bit. Well, at first. According to him, at first, Don was clueless. Does Don know now? Yeah, he even said that. Don knows now. Was Candace involved in it? Like we've all said, she was. So Candace, if you're watching, how long are you going to run for? Because I can give you some intel on that cop. I didn't get his name, but I can tell you some other things that I won't, because I don't want to. Hell, he used to work for this Hawkins County for quite a while. And he switched over, got better pay from Rogersville City. But he straight up said they know for a fact Candace is involved. Proving it is the problem. He did. He said detectives know more than what they're saying. He said they don't tell us a lot, but they do. He said they do know more than what they're saying. And he was a very nice guy. And I originally wanted to talk to him about the kitten. We started talking about Summer Wells. I couldn't believe he actually opened his mouth and said, told me straight up, he said, "I'll tell you right now, the detectives know more than what they're letting on. They're keeping playing it close to the vest." I told him that everybody needs to think outside the box. He agrees. Candace did move Summer somewhere. He said she knows exactly everything that went down. I couldn't believe he was that forthcoming, right? Because he doesn't work in the county anymore. But I also got the feeling that when it comes time to arrest Candace, it's not going to be a funny sight. Well, not for her at least. He said the toughest part of my job is having to deal with situations like this when it deals with a kid. Now, you talk to some cops, they won't tell you much of anything. I wasn't expecting him to tell me anything. It really blew my mind when he did. And I talked to a cop last year when his first one down, when they're doing donations. I met her in Walmart. She said the same thing. We know who's behind it. We just can't prove it. So they're working on proving it. take it for what you want, but that's exactly what he told me. Not even less than a half hour ago. We'd have still been talking, but some old man came up, couldn't find a key, couldn't find his Ford Escape. So the cop decided to tell him to go look for it. And as I'm standing on top of my car trying to find this Ford Escape, the old man says, "Oh crap!" I said, "What?" He said, "I've been driving my wife's car all day. I forgot I took my truck." So, anyhow, so they know more than they're letting on, guys. Run, Candace, run, bitch.
Oh,
They're gonna get you.
yikes.
Catch you on the flip flop. Bye.
I don't know if I didn't remember that part, Matt, but bravo to you.
You know, this morning's
Hold on one second.
Yeah, that
morning text.
still the deal for me.
Well, so
Now, fear is a power.
I mean, if you just listen to that, and I agree that they know more than they're saying. Obviously, they do, but I mean, he kind of makes it seem as though they basically know exactly what happened. They just have to prove it. Is that the impression that you got?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it coincides. I don't want to be biased, but it coincides with exactly what I think. I mean, it just makes sense.
Right.
Don
Right.
knows. And I always thought that Don didn't know exactly the details, because I think that if you know too much, then it's a liability to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Candace and her family are very good at what they do. Let's just say that. And so when he said that she knows exactly what happened and Don now knows, I have to agree with that. A lot of people are like flipped on that, which is totally understandable. But I truly believe that Don knew after the fact, because at least he tries to fake that he cares.
But why would he go
Candace
along
doesn't.
with it?
Because he would have gone down too. It was a mutual, in my opinion, it was a mutual agreement, in a sense that something had to happen so that either the boys were saved or they could stay out of jail.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, the whole thing, but that was about 3 or 4 months ago, Matt talking about that. And I really do. I watch the guy's videos. I've always enjoyed, listening to him talk. I mean, he stays on their case, which is always appreciated, especially from, when you hear from locals and stuff. I that to me is invaluable. I'm in California. I'm not going to run into a Rogersville cop. And, it's totally believable what that cop said to him. I mean, he didn't divulge anything other than, look, man, like they're working on it and they know what happened. They're just trying to figure it out. It's, I just, I do like your theory, and you're probably way closer than I am. Like I said, I just have I'm just having a block, thinking that they would actually truly orchestrate the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I think that that's what all they do. If you think about it on a smaller scale, they orchestrate how to get away with doing drugs and living the life that they do. What's a child to specifically to Candace?
Oh, she goes her whole. I mean, she's lost every child that she's had, but not only that, she seems to just float through life. It doesn't bother her. It seems. I mean, people disappear out of their lives. If you think about Rose, and then her two children. It's just like Summer. It's like second verse, same as the first here. This is what happens.
Yeah, and to be so
First-
nonchalant in the second interview ever done, where Candace and Don are together. I hope they find her too. Like it was just, I'm having eggs for breakfast. Like it was nothing. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Same.
it's similar to like what he was saying. You know, I played some of those clips yesterday, and he is very, very just plain about it. And I remember talking to Don one time, and I said that, you know, but you're not publicly pleading for your daughter's return. And he's like, I'm done pleading. I'm done. Like it was like he got angry at me. And I was like, whoa. I mean, why would you ever be done pleading? You know, I mean, I don't think he's the mastermind, but I do think that he is involved one way, shape, or the other and should be locked up with the rest of them. But yeah, he doesn't care
Right.
either.
Well, the way he behaved at work with Dudley, if anyone remembers that whole entire thing.
Dudley Aitchen.
Hmm?
Dudley Aitchen, right? What was his name?
Yeah.
Aitchen? Not Aitchen.
Yeah. Trying to make him out to be this, you know, basically trying to make him out to be what Don actually is, ironically.
Right.
Because that's all they know, right? Is themselves. That's how selfish they are. It just made me like, it sealed the deal for me how they were treating other people that they know had nothing to do with it.
Right. Lockdown with April C. Dudley is a witness. How do you know that? I mean,
he was the witness to how Don lived.
Oh yeah, dude.
Everybody could help that.
And you notice that everybody's on meth. Like when it comes to Don, he's like, man, he was big time on meth. It's like, what? What are you? Crack? Drunk?
Don, why are you going to Tennessee?
The crack ferry in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I still one of the most unbelievable stories I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. How do you know what people do in hotel rooms nefariously with prostitutes? How do you know all of these things and then have the audacity to blame or judge someone else that literally doesn't have anything to do with your daughter's disappearance? Come on.
He's one of the most illogical humans. I don't know if you've heard before, but I had a phone conversation with him one time where he screamed at me for about 20 minutes. It was, you know, he was cussing like crazy. I played it for Chris. I don't have it anymore because it was just like, why put any of that like negative nastiness out there? You know what I mean? Because there was already enough. But I mean, he was calling me the N-word. He was calling me Mexican racial things. He was
very charming, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a real peach, you know. And it kind of pissed him off because I was kind of chuckling, like, "Wow, dude." And the end of the conversation went like this. He said, I'm trying to find out where my daughter is." And I said, "Go ask your wife." And then he said, "F you." And I said, "Go ask your wife." And then he said it again. And finally,
don't say any absence.
As he is yelling, he said, you know, he says, "F you." And I said, "Go ask your wife." And then I hung up the phone. That was the last time I ever spoke with him. He went to jail not too much later, but he was out of his mind.
Timing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It couldn't have, you know, I was actually on a panel that when he got pulled over that night, we were trying to have an interview with him and McDonough. Yeah, dude, he's just like so casual. I got pulled over. I'm going to jail.
Like, oh man, I'm going to jail.
And then people blamed us that he went to jail for drinking and driving.
Like it was some conspiracy that you set him up on
If
channel.
I
know.
knew how to do that, I would have. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
He's
if you didn't have some alcohol sitting up in your truck driving on YouTube, come on. Like you
That's what
set yourself up.
I could not believe people were like, they set him up. Like, hey, Don, like we told, first of all, you don't have to tell Don to get drunk. He does it on his own. And second of all, I believe he was arguing with Candace that night. So he was going to get cigarettes is what he said. And he got pulled over. First of all, I didn't think for a second that it was my fault, but if it was, I don't care. That the reason that he is in jail today is because of that DUI, and he was on probation for this. I don't think this is his first or second DUI. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, the interactions that I had with the guy were just they were all pretty crappy. But I mean, I even exchanged some texts with him. And then finally, when I got to the point of like where he would say, hey, like, can I run something by you? And he'd say, I have a theory. And what he was basically doing was trying to feed me something that I would go and report on or do a show about. And I was like, okay, so he's giving me the old, rigmarole, ring around the rosy. And I wasn't his friend. And I made that very clear to him that we weren't friends. And so I stopped taking his calls, and because I mean he would text out of nowhere, like, and he always refers to everybody as their YouTube names. So he would be like, "Hey, Lab, it's Wells." I'm like, "Oh God, great, Lab, it's Wells." I was just like, oh, Jesus. It's like, what's up? I have a theory.
It wouldn't surprise me if Grandis called the cops on Don, by the way.
Or Candace, for that matter.
Right. Well, you remember the whole Doug thing where he had, I guess, what was it, shotguns or like a gun illegally?
Yeah.
Somebody called on him for safety reasons. It wouldn't surprise me if that was Grandis too, even though I know who it was.
Wasn't she the one that told him that he had the gun in the car?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she did. She and it was a black powder gun.
Yeah, that was very intentional. I laughed so hard. Oh, that was so funny. It's not a funny situation, but
oh yeah, there's so many ridiculous situations with this guy. I mean, but yeah, single mom 4, that's exactly the text said, Lab, it's Wells. And I was like, oh shit. Cause I hadn't heard from him in a while, and he had been arrested, and he changed his number, right? Because everybody in the northern hemisphere had it at some point. I mean, everybody was just tossing that guy's number around like it was nothing. Like, hey, can I get I don't know how that started, and I don't even remember how I got his phone number. But
who didn't have his phone number though? Like I have it. Never talked to him.
That's what I'm saying. Do you have the new one?
No, I don't have that one.
Well, I didn't either until I got that dumb text.
Tim Mullen might hook you up with that.
No, maybe. I have it. I don't. I have it, but I have it blocked because I don't like. He was really weird. He would say things to me like, man, you're not like it. You're like a really good dude. Like you do like a really good show, and you just need to get away from those other people. And he was talking about McDonough and Doug at the time, and he was just constant. Like
he wanted to be moral authority on who to speak with. Oh wow!
He wanted to divide and conquer. He wanted me on his side. He wanted me to say favorable things about him. And it didn't work because I could tell that he was trying to play me too. And when he really rallied against Jeannie and Mary and like doubled down on that whole thing, I was just like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. You know, I came to the conclusion, look, he's not going to tell me anything. I never thought that he would, and I never thought that Candace would. I just never felt like that was something that they were ever going to do. And there was no reason for, you know, I had my interview with them. I asked my questions. And there was just no reason for me to like be in contact. Like if he came out of jail, you know, on the 30th or 31st, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to do an interview?" I tell him, "No, I don't." And I don't care how many people would show up for it. I just wouldn't, because what more, other than him saying where Summer is, what happened to Summer, there's nothing more to talk about with him. It's all entertainment for everybody else, you know, and him.
On the back of his daughter. It's the worst thing. Yeah.
On the back of his daughter, and on the back of many, many, many felonies, children being taken away. I mean, his son, Don Jr., you know, I heard a little bit about Don Jr.'s past. And while he is a registered SAer, imagine Don Wells raising you. Your life's not going to go good. And no. I'm not, like I said, I'm not excusing any of that behavior, because there's a bunch of people that are treated horribly and that have been in those situations where they have been SA'd as well, and they break the chain, they break the cycle, you know.
I'm pretty sure I'd be the kid from The Omen if Don was my parent.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I would be Macaulay Culkin from The Good Son. Do you remember that one?
Just kind of a rascal.
What's that?
I said, or Home Alone. He was kind of a rascal.
Oh, you don't even want to get me started on Home Alone. I mean, he basically tried to murder just two people entering his house.
Don't start nothing, there won't be nothing. You
know?
But
then he took it to New York. You know. Anyway, I appreciate you coming up and chatting with me. I guess I will try to again figure out the chat thing tomorrow, and when it eventually fails, I'll try again in another week. And I'm a trier. That's what I do.
I'll be the scapegoat. If it fails again, I will take responsibility. Full responsibility. Well. But thank you for having me, and chat mods. Thank you for accommodating me. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
And that's True Crime with Eve. Go ahead and subscribe to her channel. Go ahead and throw that in the chat as well. Thank you guys. And Eve, thank you again so much. Yeah, no, I'm not giving up. I'll never give up. V says total multi-generational dysfunction in the Bly hair wells. Absolutely. Yeah, she was just trying to help. I got really close to figuring it out. It wasn't her fault. It was Streamlabs. Yes, Eve, thank you. That was very great. I will never give up on Summer. We've came too far already, you know. And shout out to Matt Gilbert as well for giving me permission to use that tape. I mean, it was pretty spectacular information. So anyway, Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. You guys have a nice night, and we'll see you tomorrow. As always, thank you much.
Blazing the steel. Bring the heat. Mix it non-stop. With the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Diaz.
Non-stop.
There is no investigation. This boy has
God, really? This to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna
the
do
boys.
what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
there is no investigation. This boy has
God, really? This to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best.
Take care.
It's hard, it's real tough.
Have a nice night.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
there is no investigation. This boy has
God, really? This to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I have to.
there is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.